Hi everyone, Tea Drinker here, and today I am reacting to Cowboy Bebop Episode 1. The reaction will be a quick highlight reel, and a review will be a scene-by-scene analysis. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam. Asteroid Blues. Okay, here's the beginning of the series. What are we gonna get? Some cool harmonica by the sound of it. Ah, set in space. Spike. Seems to be a cozy setup they have. Okay. Not up to scratch. Okay. 1 million woolongs. He injured a cop. Tijuana. Is this like some kind of... Yeah, it's like some kind of Stargate they're going through. All this to get to Tijuana? I'm only like 2 or 3 minutes into this and I know I'm gonna like this show. So I take it Spike is heading off to investigate. So I take it there's like some sort of vagabond bounty hunter dudes. And I just love the pacing of this. Like, there's just been so much space given to the setup. Oh, the animation is stunning. Absolutely stunning. Love the music. It's so great. Oh, hi, cat. Sore da. Is he the guy we're looking for? Okay. Is he giving him that vial? Or is that vial like worth a lot of money? Alright, here we go. Red Eye. Bloody Eye. Oh, the 90s. I don't want to wear contact lenses, let alone do that. It's kicking off. Oh, very Terminator. Love the film grain effect. That's scary. So I take it that those were the FBI or some sort of law enforcement that were coming to kill him, right? Is that meant to be in the shape of a bird? Seriously? Was he speaking figuratively or literally? Great shot. Hey, kitty. Just love this old school animation. I just love the juxtaposition between the old school and the new school. Not a bother on him. Wow, halfway through the episode already. Wow. That reminds me so much of the classic Pokemon anime. No, I'm glad she found it endearing. My stomach glued to my back. What an expression. I love all this. I love the design of the world. It's great exposition for the world. Oh. Oh! Come on, Jet! Show out of nowhere to save Spike. Very clever.
Adios, cowboy.
Very Tarantino-esque dialogue. Jealous. Oh, is Bebop the name of the ship? Okay. Interesting setup. So I wonder, are they going to like solve this within the end of the episode, or does it carry on to the next? Who are these guys? Nice hat. As if they wouldn't recognize him. Whoa. No interest in selling it later on. Oh, love that music. Ooh. I love this music. Are these cops? Oh no. Oh. Can't believe I didn't see that coming with her belly. Hey, Jet. Oh, this music. Some 1930s film noir music right now. Oh, that scenery. He's like a monkey. Did she kill him? Yep. Great use of silence.
Adios.
Cowboy. That's a tragic end. Ooh, very Space Odyssey. Oh, that's cool. See you, Space Cowboy. Wow, what an opening episode! Wow, what an opening episode to the entire series. Even from the first episode alone, I can see why this went on to be so iconic in anime. I don't know much about the production of Cowboy Bebop, at least not at this particular point in time. This is me just going in totally raw to the series, but of course there'll be the review coming up in a second, but I just gotta say, knee-jerk reaction from the first watch is that it's such an interesting blend of, as I mentioned, like kind of like the old school kind of like Western and film noir vibes, but then it's transplanted into this like sci-fi world. So like it's so like there's that blend of the cultural old with the technological new. Very much reminds me of maybe something you would get in Fallout New Vegas or something along those lines, but very powerful start to the show. It's a very simple story that they just illustrated very, very well. There was enough runtime in the episode where you were really able to have space between scenes. You were able to have that bit of breathing room to really soak in this world and to soak in the emotions that the characters are feeling. But be that as it may, that is my reaction to Cowboy Bebop, and now here is the review. So it's a couple of weeks later since I first watched this episode. I actually watched the first 5 episodes back to back just to see if the show would be for me and worth reviewing, worth uploading. And since doing the rewatch just now, I realized that the review format with this would probably be better if I just spoke for a couple of minutes after each episode, rather than do a scene-by-scene analysis. I don't really think this is a show that necessarily requires that, but that is not to say that there isn't a lot to talk about here. From watching this episode again, I think it's a masterpiece. Insofar as this first episode goes, I don't think you could possibly get a pilot for an anime any better than this, honestly. You know, from seeing the next couple episodes, there is going to be a similarity in story structure, in the format, in the tone of it, of how much of it is going to be action versus exposition oriented. And I don't think that's a spoiler if you haven't seen the next 4 episodes, because you can definitely infer a lot of that from the first episode here. But given the fact that I was going into this completely blind, the only thing I knew about this was the theme tune, for instance. So I didn't even know that it was going to be set in space, and like what a brilliant title for the episode, like Asteroid Blues. You could, if the entire show was going to be this exact format the whole way through for the next 20 or 25 episodes, however many it is, like calling the show Asteroid Blues would, in a way, maybe that was even a working title at one point. I don't know. But you see, so within this episode, you get the characterization between the likes of Jet and Black. You see what their banter is like. You see the dynamic. You see that they are struggling financially, but it still seems to be a pretty cozy setup that they have. And there's this great kind of connection that both of them have. There's a lovely sense of camaraderie between the two men. You get just stunning world building with all the shots of the spaceship, which is called Bebop, going through the star system for intergalactic travel. You have just the interior of the ship as well, how it does look like an actual like frigate, like an old ship that these men are on. But of course we know that it's set in space. Like, for them to, if you'll forgive me for maybe being a little bit blunt about this, characterizing a space ship, they just did it so traditionally. They did it in a way that adhered to tradition, but it just feels authentic for this type of story. And all the blues music that is just operating in the background as well. And I mentioned it in the review that the show isn't afraid to slow down the pace as well. It really gives breathing room. It's not jumping like action, 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 action. It's not doing cut, 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 cut with the edits. It's able to tell the episode at a very deliberate pace because it feels appropriate. It lets certain emotions and ideas hang. And with regards to the world building, you got this in the interior of the ship and the exterior of space where they're at. But then when they get to Tijuana as well, like the show takes the time to have those overlay shots of what the streets look like, what the signposts look like. When Jet and Asimov end up fighting, towards the later end of the episode, you even get the short little bit of banter between the old men who are saying, like, I've planted many of seeds within my life, and that type of dialogue. Even when they're in the bar in Tijuana, like the amount of focus given to the cat, how they use the cat to show like the everyday life, like licking up the liquid on the floor, and then the huge expression on the cat's face just as the firefight is about to begin. It's just, there are things like that feel organic to the story itself. It doesn't feel as though they're throwing those things in just for the sake of adding like extra drama or anything like that. These creators were very, very, it seems like they were intending to create a very tangible world with what it is that they were doing there. So with regards to the world building, I was just unbelievably impressed. Then with regards to the tone of the piece and the genre, it's very interesting because, and this is kind of bleeding a little bit into a separate point, but they're all kind of connected, so maybe it's better to just talk about them all at the same time. Like the storyline of hunting down, like with them being bounty hunters and hunting down the target who himself is dabbling in drugs, and you have the out of control spiraling, like the scene in the bar where he murders all the men, and just the absolutely frenzied look. He could not possibly look more frenzied without turning into an animal. And I think within the reaction, I even at one point mentioned towards the end when he's out of his mind on Red Eye, how he just looks like a gorilla. He looks absolutely demented. And for us to then follow that storyline through in a way like the perspective of his girlfriend, and how Spike and her have this conversation about what it's going to be like to start a new life on Mars, and then you see the interior, the monologue between herself and Asimov, where he's definitely a bit of a patriarchal role in that relationship dynamic, and she's noticing him getting worse and worse, and then for the story to end with her killing him before he can himself be killed by the oncoming slaughter of the police. It's like, it's such a dark storyline, but also very kind of like emotionally poignant, given that we had the setup that she talked about wanting to start over a good life. And I think I mentioned in the review that it was a bit of a Tarantino-esque dialogue with the Adios Cowboy. And that's how all this is linked into genre and tone, which is where I was beginning to talk about all this in the first place, is that you are getting the Western vibes, you're getting a bit of the film noir vibes as well, both with the music and the art production. But then, of course, with the story as well, bringing all these elements in. So I guess what I'm trying to say with this first episode of Cowboy Bebop is it's like a blend of two or three genres operating at the same time, but it doesn't feel tacked on. It's like, it doesn't feel like, hey, what if this is a space western, but it also has like very interesting characters, and it has deep themes running as a bit of an overarch as well. On paper, that is something that could really tumble over itself, and it's just trying to do so much at the same time. And then you have an episode like this where it does all those things, and yet there's still that it's paced so well, where it's kind of a relaxing watch, even with those last 5 minutes, which are very emotionally intense. Like the slow pace of the shots and the way the music just slips in and out, and the way the dialogue allows time for characterizing these people, it just feels very, very organic. And even uh, prior to the opening titles, we got a bit of a what I assume is a flashback with Jet, that he has some sort of a traumatic past that we're going to learn as the series unfolds. I feel as though there's maybe not a huge amount else I could say past this point that won't just be going in circles between what I said within the reaction and this review, but I just thought it was sublime. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. They did so much in such a short amount of time. It didn't feel like a single shot or a single scene was out of place. Definitely, from having seen the next 4 episodes and then coming back to do a rewatch was a great idea, because it really allowed me to appreciate what it is that's going on here. And I think I'm going to leave it at that. I'm dying to get into the review for episode 2, so I might just leave it there. But I think as time goes on within these reviews, I'll be elaborating on a bit more of what I mean with regards to genre structure and how it was implemented through the art production as well as the screenwriting itself. And I can 100% see myself watching this series all the way to the very end. I don't think this is one where I'm going to upload the first 5 episodes and then realize, I don't think this show is for me. This show seems to very much be for me. Thanks for watching.